Hi, how you doing? Today I thought I'd do some seeding. I have a few things that can be started early. This is the first week of February, and I'm going to start some onion seeds, three different varieties of onion, two different varieties of Dusty Miller, um, some spearmint, and I also have black pearl ornamental peppers. My name is Sharon. I garden on a large yard in a small town in east central Saskatchewan, Zone 3. Welcome to my Sask Garden. So the first thing I start with, of course, is the soil. And for those of you who have not seen me start anything yet, I use ProMix HP, which is high porosity. And then I use that for almost everything, house plants and potting up and starting cuttings, and also for seeding. But when I use it for seeding, I like to sieve out the big bits. And so I have some here in my soil sieve, and I'm just going to do that. And I'll just show you when I'm done here what I've actually sieved out. This high porosity it's a peat based, and it also has a higher amount of perlite in it. And that perlite is kind of big bits. That perlite can be crushed, of course, and all of this soil that I'm not going to put into the containers today is certainly still good soil. It's nothing that has to be thrown away. It's just too coarse for seeding. Seeds are small and they need a fine mix. There we go. So that's what doesn't go in. So I'm just going to dump this back in, and I'm just going to sieve a little bit more because I have a few containers to fill. Okay, we'll give that a try. So for those of you who've not seen me start anything yet, I use these cells, and they are the size of a 6 cell, but they're not divided on the inside. And then I use these, and I seed everything in here, and then I transplant out the ones that have germinated. I also have some when I seed a little bit more, or I want them to be able to stay in here just a little bit longer. Then I have these that are about twice, not quite twice the size. I actually think maybe they are twice the size. I think only half the amount of these will go into a tray, as opposed to the small ones. So I'll just fill these up. Seed bed it's good for it to be tamped a bit. And a good way to do that is just to put one over top of the other and just press down slightly. I think we're going to cover all of these with some soil. I'm not sure about the Dusty Miller. And when I say that, it means sometimes seed needs light to germinate, and so you don't cover with soil. I do cover most everything with a fine or a small layer of fine vermiculite. Good. If you're wondering where you can get these containers or these, I've had them for a lot of years, but I originally got them from Early's in Saskatoon, and they sell all of those inserts that fit inside a 10 by 22 tray. Now, I don't know if you have to buy cases of each. I think that you don't. I think you can buy, like, 5 sheets. So however many this would be, I think it's 10 in a tray 10 or 12 maybe. Maybe it's 12. And so if you buy 5 sheets, then that's 12 times 5, and you would get 60 of these. I find them to be really beneficial as opposed to the cells, only because I like to see what has germinated. And then it also is a big space saver for under the lights. You can have however many seedlings in here. Say you have 25 or 50 seedlings in here, out of 75 seed, for example, and then you can just prick out the ones that you want and plant them into 6 cells, or whatever size pot you want. I usually do 6 cells of some size. Anyways, we're almost ready to go. So those two are going to be for the Dusty Miller. The first thing I need is 3 for the onion. I have 3 kinds of onion here. I have Spanish onion candy hybrid, and this seed, I don't have very much left. I actually just have it in a little packet at the back, and I bought it in 2023, and so onion seed doesn't really have a big shelf life or a long shelf life. I'm going to seed all of these, and I'm not going to expect all of them to germinate. I'd be happy with half if they did. Um, I have room this year, or what I'm planning to grow is about 75 onion bulbs, and that candy hybrid was a pretty good one. This Cartier hybrid was better. I grew this last year, and I grew it because it's supposed to have a 10-month storage life. I don't have cold storage, so they're just down here in the basement, which is usually about 15°C, and they're doing very well. There's no sign whatsoever. They're also a tasty onion. They're not really, really strong. So that's that one. Also, I was going to mention that these seeds I bought in 2024. So again, they may not be as viable. William Dam says that they should have 90% germination, but that would have been in 2024. So I think that I'll seed all of these as well. And then I bought a new one this year, and it's called Spanish Medallion Hybrid. And this one I bought for size because it's supposed to grow big onions. Anyways, it says to start indoors 10 weeks before frost, and you could certainly do that. There's a school of thought that the earlier you plant them inside, the bigger the onion you'll get at the end of it. Now, I don't know if, for those who may not know, there are 3 kinds of onions. There's short day, intermediate, and there's long day, and that means that's when they bulb. For us up here, we get those long days in the summer. We should be growing long day or intermediate. I think the candy is intermediate that I have, and the other 2 are long day. I've never had trouble with anything bulbing when they're supposed to. So, but the only thing you would want to stay away from is short day. I honestly don't know if they're even sold here, short day onions, because the entire country would not have that kind of light. We'd all be long day. I'm going to sprinkle the seeds on top and then add some soil over top of that, and then add a bit of vermiculite. So I've also made tags. You want to, I mean, if you don't care, you can tell they're onion pretty much as soon as they come up. They're just a long, slender green. They look like onion. But if you want to know which is which, and I do, so I have the 3 tags made up. So we'll start with the candy first. I'm going to say that's probably maybe 50 seeds. And I'm just going to take a pinch and scatter them. Try not to get too close together. All right. The next one will be the Cartier hybrid. And this is the one that's supposed to be the great, well, it is. I can attest to that. It really is a great storage onion. I probably have the same amount of seed in this package. I don't know how many. It was originally 115 to 125 seed, and I bought that last year. So this is probably half of what's left, maybe a little less. Same thing, I'm just going to scatter. And I'm sowing thickly because I'm not expecting them all to germinate. So we'll take what we get. So those two are done. And now this one will be the Spanish medallion hybrid. So that's all of them. And now I'm just going to take some of them out. I think that should be good. And again, they're all the same, all onion. Onion are pretty easy to grow from seed. They certainly will seed out. If you have onion that goes to seed, they will certainly seed out in your garden and grow on their own as well. So I'm just going to give them a water. You just don't want to wash the seed away. Basically what you're striving for here. So you don't want to dump water. I like one of these misters. I think they're excellent. Plus just for watering seedlings, I usually use filtered water. In this case, it's reverse osmosis water. That's what I always keep in that jug. So I always go by weight. These feel pretty good. I think that I probably could give them a little soak in water, and I'll do that later when I have all of the cells in the tray, and I'll soak them all at the same time. Okay, I think next we'll do spearmint. I've never grown spearmint from seed before. I bought a plant last year and it promptly died right after I got it, or it really suffered anyway. So I don't know what I did wrong with it. This is the kind that is quite invasive, and so, but I will be growing it in a pot. It says to start 8 to 10 weeks beforehand. Again, it's a little bit more than that, but I don't need very much. I just want one pot. So I'm just going to start a few seeds and see if that works a little bit better. Keep moist and warm until growth is seen. Oh, grows best in part shade. That's probably what I did wrong because I had it in full sun. Duh. This one says do not cover. It says the seed is very fine, do not cover. So that's what we're going to do. I will cover it with a little bit of vermiculite. I thought maybe it would smell minty, but it doesn't. Oh, that seed is very small. far too much. Also on the back of the package, it says that, the germination, optimum germination would be 68%. There's 450 to 520 seeds in here. I don't know how many I would have there. It's hard to say because they're so small. I'm going to say maybe close to 100. So I'm just going to keep it on the surface. Take a pinch, scatter a bit. Very tiny seed. Again, I'll put a little bit of, just a bit of vermiculite on the top, and then I'll water. That's just to make good contact, that spritz on the top. That's not actually to water it all the way through. That'll happen when I put water in the tray. Next, we're going to do the black pepper, black pearl pepper. It's an ornamental pepper. I've grown this several times before. The leaves are black. The foliage is black or really, really dark purple, and it's really pretty. It gets tiny little peppers, about that big, and they start out black and then they turn red, and it's a really pretty combination at some point. It grows 18 inches tall. I think mine have maybe grown a little bit bigger. I like them in the center of a pot, and then so I'm planning to grow those two colors of the light pink and dark pink of geraniums, and those will go in front of the garage, which faces south. There's 3 pots, and they need to be able to tolerate heat and full sun all day long, and a little bit of dry conditions as well from time to time. So these peppers will definitely do that. They will tolerate all that as well as the geraniums, and so will the Dusty Miller. These I bought maybe 2 years ago. I don't find that peppers really lose their viability. So there's 2, 3, 6, 9, 10, maybe 12 there. I also saved some of my own seed from these, and I've saved this seed before in years past, and it does come true for the most part. I've never had trouble with it reverting or going to something else. It's always been pretty good. And these, I'm not sure. I'm gonna say 1/2 inch, maybe 1/4 inch. So I'll just be a little bit more precise with these, kind of seed them in rows, and on one side I'll do the seed from the package, and on the other side I'll do my own seed. As I said, I've never really seen trouble with either with germinating or with it coming true. Oops. So there was 10. These little peppers, the fruit that it produces, they can be eaten. They are edible, but apparently like uber hot. And I don't know just how good they taste. I've certainly never tried. The only thing I've done with these peppers is harvested the seeds out of dry pods. And when I do that, I wear gloves and a mask because of any dust that comes up You can breathe that in. When you're breathing in hot pepper dust, that can be tough on you. And also, one time I did that without, probably the first time, um, without using gloves, and all of that hot pepper, the capsicum, I guess it is, it got underneath my nails, like on the skin underneath my nails, and that was so painful. It burned like crazy. So whenever you're harvesting hot pepper seed, you do need to take some precautions there, and don't touch your eyes or anything like that, because um, that it burns for sure. With these, I will just poke that in the soil a bit, and then I'm going to cover with a bit of extra soil. Quarter-inch, actually, to me seems to me like they should be a little deeper because the seed is bigger, but you do what it says. And a little bit of vermiculite. You could skip this step with the vermiculite. You don't have to run out and get vermiculite. It's just, I have it. You buy a bag of it and it's going to last you forever, honestly. And then I'll just mist that down a bit. When you've covered with soil, you don't have to be quite as gentle as when you've not covered with soil. If the seed is sitting on top of the soil and you start blasting water at it, it can wash it, you can wash it all into one corner or something. And now all we have left is the dusty miller. I grew silver dust last year and it grew exceptionally well. I started it about this time, and they grew fairly slowly. I'm going to say it's because it's cool down here. They certainly picked up once they got into the greenhouse, and really picked up once I planted them out. And they were planted on the south side of the house in the raised bed, and boy, they grew gangbusters. They actually began to bloom toward the end of the season. This says to seed 1/8 of an inch deep, so almost on top of the soil. This is last year's seed, and last year's optimum germination should have been 88%. So I don't know how viable this seed is from year to year, but I don't need a lot, and plus I'm doing the other variety as well. So small seed, but not quite as small as some of the others. I think that should do. Now I'm going to do the same thing, pinch and scatter, but I'm going to try and, that's why I'm using a bigger cell, is because I want them to be spaced just a little bit further apart. That's hard to do. I actually have a tiny little scoop that probably would work for this to scatter them about. But again, I don't know what kind of germination rate I'll get. And oops, wow. If it's too thick, I can certainly pull the odd one out and allow the rest to grow bigger. And the next one I bought, I was quite excited about these. It's called New Look. It's got a more solid, fatter leaf, and they're bigger leaves. And to me it looks like a lot like that Senecio angel wings plant, and so, which I did grow a year or two ago, and I really like them. But for the amount I need, buying all those angel wings is kind of cost prohibitive because they're a little bit more of an expensive plant, and I want quite a few. of the plants. So I thought this would probably be a really nice substitution. Last year, I also put some of that silver dust in a pot, and it turned out really nice. It was in with geraniums, and I really like the combination. So that's actually what I plan to do with with these this year as well, is to put them in with the geraniums. Now this one, it says it's pelleted seed, and it says there's 40 to 50 seeds. So I'm going to seed them all. And optimum germination is 98%. I've mentioned before that pelleted seed, uh, if you're going to buy some, you have to keep it in mind that pelleted seed doesn't have as good a viability in the second year or in the next year. So you really, if you're going to buy pelleted seed, you really should only be buying what you're going to plant this year, because next year it might not be good, or it might be a lot lower germination. Still a couple in there. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more precise here because the seed isn't quite so fine. What I'm going to do, I think, is add some vermiculite to this soil mixture. Put it on very lightly. I just, with pelleted seed, well, with any seed, you just really need to keep that moisture up. And so I really do like the idea of the vermiculite to help out a little with that. Gently give it a pat, and then I'll top it again with a little bit more vermiculite. Which I forgot to do to this one. I didn't put any soil on top of that one. I think the package said these take 10 to 14 days to germinate. 10 to 15 days to germinate, and they also like a soil temp of 20 to 24. So all of these that I've seeded today will go on the new heat mat. The new heat mat has a thermostat, which my old heat mat doesn't. So I think that's kind of neat as well, that you can have a little bit more control. So there they are. Hopefully in a couple weeks' time it'll all be covered with growth. That's what we're hoping. Now I'm going to put some water in the tray so that they get a soak from the bottom as well. And the other thing I'm going to do, oh, it's under here. They will all benefit, most seeds do, benefit from a really high humidity. So they're just going to have that on top. And they're going to go under the lights on this side on the new heat mat. At the moment, they can stay as they are and just soak up a bit of water. Anyways, I think that's all I'm going to do today in here. And I hope you found it enjoyable or helpful in some way. If you did, give me a thumbs up, tell your friends, and hit that subscribe button. Thanks again. See you.